Hey, Joseph Worthy, Activist Supply. Gonna do a couple of things all in one. Well, two videos, but we're gonna deal with this same image that we had in Corel Draw recently. So this image was a high school. It is a high school mascot. I took out the high school names. I thought that was appropriate, and it said Grizzlies below it, but the high school name was above and Grizzlies below, and it had a lot of gray in the image. It was sent to us as a Corel Draw file, and it had this gray in the text. So when I did it in Corel the other day, I didn't take this down as far as I will today, but you could do this in both Illustrator and Draw, what I do today with this. And so I'm going to try to probably get into way too much in these two videos that relate to this, but I'm having a hard time of finding a balance of not giving too much information and then not holding back too much information to where I'm um, going out of order of explaining things. And so hopefully if I just find a balance, the videos are going to get better. I'm starting to get a couple subscribers. You guys just bear with me. The videos will get better, and I'm going to go back and make better videos as I get better at this, and we'll tackle all the same subjects again. And I know it's 30 subscribers, but to me that's valuable right there. It means that there's some people out there that want to listen to what I have to say, and trust me, I'm going to make it worth your while, because what really I've been wanting to do this for a long time, for several years. I actually started to do it, and I found it very difficult. And at the time I got really into it, and I started buying really nice cameras and lighting and sound stuff, and I was just gonna make a really awesome channel, but I wasn't great at speaking, and I didn't want to spend hours and hours editing. And I had this great motion graphics intro, and I'm gonna start putting it on the videos, one of them, and then I'm gonna improve another one. But what ended up happening is I got a little bit discouraged. I had so much work going on. I started a design agency as well, and so I just kind of got overwhelmed. And then I met a guy, and he invited me into this Facebook group for screen printers. And when I got in, I just saw how much misinformation was going on. And so I by no means have all of the information, but I have had to learn the hard way about many, many things. And what I see most is salespeople will tell someone something, and then they'll tell it to other people. And so I don't fault the people that had these wrong ideas. But anyway, it really lit a fire under me. It really made me want to start getting in and doing these videos and getting out as much information as I could, because at one point I didn't know what I needed and what I didn't need to get an edge and get ahead. And so there is ways that you can compete with the larger shops. And right now we're just dealing with the bare bones. I want to talk to the people who don't. I'm reaching out with the videos I'm doing. People who don't have ribs, people who don't have the plugins. Eventually we're going to start doing stuff with all the separation software, with rips and all that, and we're just going to show how to maximize art and how we can really get an edge. But we got to cover everything, and I am not good at this. I know that I'm not good at this, and so I'm trying to figure out how not to ramble too much but still get the information across to you. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover way too much probably, but I'm going to try to just give enough information where something might click in someone's head. And then, as we go along, everyone's going to figure things out at a different pace, um, uh, about just understanding how color and how separation and how art works in these programs. But I'm going to separate this minus doing a base. We're going to assume it's going on white, and minus any choking or trapping or gutters, because I want to get into that later. Um, as for today, um, I just want to cover the actual separation of the colors, working with percents of color to make this fewer color screen plates and still get the depth. And like I said, I did it down to 4 colors in Corel the other day, and that's because that's how we did the art. Of course, we used a rip, but that's how we did the art when we put this out. Today I just want to go ahead and show how you could go further. And you can do this in Corel. It doesn't require me to go back in and show that again, because it's just a simple step that could be repeated in either um, program. So I'm going to separate it the way I would with a rip for someone who has a rip, and then I'm going to go into another document. I'm going to separate it the way someone could without a rip. Then I'm going to take it later on into Photoshop, and I'll probably do this in a separate video, and then I'm going to talk about what a rip does and why the salespeople who, the main two lies I hear is you can't get consistent dots, and you can't get density of film, and both are just absolutely untrue. The rip is not talking in a language that the printer doesn't understand. The printer understands one language, and it's telling it to do things, and it's nothing different from what you can tell the printer to do. It understands CMYK. The rip is making CMYK information, converting it into spot information. It's doing some transitions and talk. It's deciphering the vector information. It's deciphering the spot color information. It's translating it into CMYK information. And I will way over talk it if I try to really explain it. But I'm gonna kind of touch on the percents of color in this a little bit, and then I'm going to touch on a rip. I'm going to do the halftone, and hopefully people will get it when they see what is going on here. And then I'm going to try to sort of explain what the rip does, but there's so many variables and so many things to it that I can sort of start to ramble if I try to do that. But anyway, let's get started. I've cleared everything out of this document's color palette, and so I actually want to go ahead and make the other one that we're going to do for the no rip. So it's Command C, Command or Control C. Depending on what you're on, I'm just going to create a new, whatever file size it is. That's not even the appropriate one, but we'll take it. And then we're going to Command V. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and show you over here. This is a great thing to do if you're color separating, in my opinion. You bring it into your document, and you want to select all the unused. So you should always make copies or multiple artboards, and you should always have it to where one is the original way. But there we got rid of. I selected all the unused, and I drug them down into the trash can, and now I'm just getting rid of all of the colors. And before I go over into the other one, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna do that one. Let me think here if I actually need to do it. We'll look at it when we get here. I don't plan these videos, so I just kind of, and I don't, you got to remember, I don't have to do the stuff this way. I have Smart Rip, I have AccuRip, and so I have a very quick setup, and I'll kind of show you sort of what that looks like. It'll be slower today because I'm talking. But the first thing that I would do to this is I would grab it, and I would go down here in my swatches palette to the bottom after I've gotten all the colors out, because I want to just be dealing with the colors in this. And I want to hit this, and I'll do selected artwork, and let's call this BEAR. That spells bear for you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. Anyway, so now we have this palette down here that is the document palette. And I'll just go ahead and select again, go to my favorite, well, one of my favorite, edit colors, recolor artwork. This is one of my favorite panels. It's this, oh, you can do so much in here, but we're going to go to this little icon right here. We're going to click on it. We're going to go to the color books, and if you're dealing with Plastisol, you do your solid coated. If water-based, which we mostly deal in the water-based, but I'm going to just go ahead and do the solid coated. That's fine. And as you can see, it made that transition up here. It often doesn't actually do it to the white and black, so we'll look at that in a minute too. So we'll click on OK, and sure enough, down here in our palette, there's all our spot colors minus the white and black. I'm going to talk about white and black a little bit as it comes up, but as for now, let me make sure I'm not clicked on anything. Double click on that black, change it to a spot color, say OK, because I will probably need to deal with the black. I'm almost sure of it. Let's go ahead and look at the white, and I can talk about that. So if you have a rip, and even if you don't, if you're going to separations out of your software, which I really don't recommend, I recommend separating the colors the way we'll do in a minute so that you can control the ink cartridges. But here is the white information. So let me click on this over here. It is 100% white. See, it's 0, 0, 0, 0. And so that is always on a printer, it's going to leave it blank. That is paper. That is blank space. It's not going to do anything there. So that's what we want today. If our white is a total white, we can just leave that alone. We don't need spot. We don't need anything. So how can we start knocking this down to less colors? The first thing we can do is we can grab our gray, okay, and we can make it black. And because I made a spot color, I can either just type in right here 50, or I could slide it down to 50. But I typed in 50, and so boom, it turned it to that. Now that'll be dots. And I'm gonna take a second and do a little slight demonstration in a moment and show basically what that means. And so it'll come up on the black plate. Now let's make the black a spot black. Click on the black. It's still the CMYK, so we'll click on this spot. Now we'll just click off, and then we'll click on it and make sure it's spot. Now, yes, it's highlighted down here. All right, so on that plate, it'll be black here and halftone black here. It'll be 50% dot, allowing 50% white background to show through, 50% dot. Now, sometimes you have different colors mixed together, and that's a whole nother story. I'll go ahead and talk about it actually, and maybe some people will get it and some people won't. I didn't get it at first probably, but I could actually separate this brown. That's the next thing we're going to do. I'm going to move this gray out of the palette because we don't need it anymore. It's not in the design. So I could actually use this middle brown, and I could leave black. I could not knock out the black behind. I could put black and put an overprint behind all the darkest browns, and I could use the middle brown with holes in it, and it will mix with the black to create a darker brown. And so I could use the middle brown there, and then I could knock out and make white behind the lighter one and still use the middle brown and have it mixing with the white in a percentage. That would be kind of using the colors, more colors, but we're just going to do a tint palette today. And so how that looks is I'm going to do the selection two different ways so that I can show you how you can select color very easily within Adobe Illustrator. So I need the middle one for right now. So I'm going to select one part of the middle one. I'm going to go select same, fill and stroke. It grabs everything that's at fill and stroke. Now I'm going to hit the darkest one. Then I'm going to go up here and I can either type in a lesser value. I'm going to do 75% and try it. Or I could have slid the slider down to 75. I like that. That's enough contrast. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the next way you can do it. Now I have my document colors here, and I know that there's this color in there. Let's just say I couldn't find it. You can just click on the swatch in the palette, go up to select, same, fill and stroke, and it will grab everything that's at fill and stroke. It's beautiful. So I'll go ahead and click on the darker brown, and I will take this time down to 55. And I will go ahead and click off. So that's enough contrast for me. So there's one brown. Let me click off, and let me take my other browns and get rid of them. Okay, don't need them. To prove that it's all this brown now, just to show people who are just coming into screen print, I'm going to click on that brown. I'm going to go to select, same, fill and stroke, and watch it'll grab all the brown. Okay, because it's all one plate now, but it'll be dots, and I'm going to kind of show that right now. So how it's going to print those dots, and I'm not going to show you on this because as you're viewing it, the black is not knocked out. When you print it, it would be knocked out in this way, but I will do a demonstration real quick to show you. So it is just a brown plate, a red, and a black, which just will be a percent of color. So I make sure I'm not clicked on anything. I'm going to grab my I want to get my darkest color, so that's what this is. I'm going to go ahead and make a rectangle there for us to look at. Now I'm going to option drag. Didn't want to. Sometimes it doesn't want to give me one. I'm using a Wacom. Okay, so there's the different ones. This one is showing me I've got 100%. This one I'm going to take it down to the 75. This one I'm going to take it down to the 55. All right. And while I'm at it, I might as well click off. I might as well grab this color and grab this. Go ahead and make that. And very crude little drawing here. I apologize. But anyway, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here and I'm going to double click and I'm going to copy that hex code. So copy. Now cancel. Now I'm going to click off and grab this, and I'm going to go up here to a plugin that I have that it doesn't render well, and this is I've only used it very specifically. It does not replace a rip in most cases, but I'm going to click on halftone, and there it turned it to halftones. But I can kind of cover a lot of stuff right here by showing you that with that particular okay. So now we have that color in here. And so what happens when it prints that screen out is it'll print out a black plate everywhere where this is. As dark as you have your rip or set, or we're going to show you how to trick your printer, and you can be your rip in a minute. We're going to get into that. But so it'll have complete black dots here in this area for this, and it'll have complete black dots like this in the lighter area. And so what it is this is 75% color and 25% background showing through. This is 55% color and 45% background showing through. So it does an equation based on, it translated the way we're going to translate it into 100%, it translates this into 100% black. If you have all black cartridges, or even if you don't, you can use some more colors with it, but it tricks it into printing 100% solid in that area. Then it tricks each one of these into being solid, but it printing a dot pattern. And so what you get is a plate where this is solid, this is dots, this is dots in this amount. So that's percents of color. Now we can cancel this and we can go on here, and then we can go to the same thing and we can go to halftone. And there we have what the black will do, and it'll be on a white background. Now I'm going to show you dot gain real quick though. All right, so a shot that gets 30% dot gain, if this is the dot that the computer says it needs to be that color, they would reduce the dot by 30%. So it'd be 70% of the dot, so that when it came out on press, it would be right. So in other words, dot gain is the concept of, this is dot gain. You have a 55% color there, or 50% color. But if my dot gain were 50% and I were to print it as a 50% dot, I get that almost solid color or solid color because it all runs together. And that's because the dots spread on the fabric, the pressure of going through. Also, there's some things that occur during exposure. So everyone has dot gain. Most shops that really do a lot of halftones, they know their dot gain. We know the dot gain for every emulsion, every type of coating, every type of ink, and every machine that we have in our shop. So my Photoshop, when we're dealing with the letter, is set to our least dot gain, and so it renders things a little bit differently. And it's not gonna hurt the video, but you need to account for dot gain in your shop. It's an important thing. But that is, when I'm talking about dot gain, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it, and you can deal with it on a curve. You can deal with it in percentages. So anyway, we're going to cancel this and we're going to move along. This is how you would separate this for a rip. The last thing and the only thing I would do is because all my browns are running together. They would be halftones. This would be halftone running off here. This would be halftone running off here. This would be lesser halftones here. I would only need to trap my black, because this gray would be halftone coming off the black as well. So I would only need to trap my black to get over into this. And because in this way, I wouldn't need to trap it much. Now, on the other one, I'm not going to do it. What we're about to go over here and do, you need to trap a little more, because you're going to be putting a raster image with a vector image. And so there's going to be some breakup of the line here if it's not Perfect. Let's go over here and look at how you can do this without RIP software so that you can set up good solid plates, whether you're using all black or not. So I'm going to grab my artboard tool. For now, I'm not really thinking too good because I'm not thinking of why I need color right now. I guess I could use it to select from over here, but I can grab anything on this. So I don't see a need for it right now. Anyway, I'm going to make some more artboards to work with. Let's see if the option drag is going to work for me. Every time I get the 2 arrows there, but sometimes it just does not want to drag out. Yeah, see, I got the double arrows. There, it did that time. Oh goodness, come on. You see I have the double arrows. Okay, so I'm going to shift click on that one because we want 5 for now. So now I'm option clicking. It would be alt on a PC. So let's move this to the center and let's do this separation right quick. And it can be done fast. Now just imagine I talked too much on the other one, so you can't see how quick that could be done. But this one could be done quick as well. So I'm going to click on V and get the actually, I'm going to do Z real fast, and let's bring that in a little bit. There we go. I'm going to actually command minus a hint, and then I'm going to grab my selection tool V. So let's do the red first. It's pretty simple. Click right here, and I see that I have the red and the red. So let's lock that. Let's lock that, and then let's grab all this and delete. Alrighty. Now we have the red already separated. We can unlock it. I'm going to lock everything back up in a minute, and I'll show you why. Let's command G to group those. I feel like I should talk more about why you would change the color of it to black, but I kind of want to keep the RIP talk into the next video and the color talk. We would definitely want to go in and let's just make it a rich black, and let's not talk about whether or not you have all black cartridges. This would be fine whether you have all black cartridges or you're not running all black cartridges. This would be a perfectly acceptable way to run it. However, we're going to get more deep into that subject in a minute. So there's your black there. All right, now we're going to do our gray, and because I know this was Corel and it sees outline and stroke a little bit differently, I'm going to do something that's a little bit monotonous, but you would get in and find that you needed to do some similar thing. It's just something you find out as you're in working and stuff. So let's delete everything and let's unlock our gray. And now let's click on it and let's Command C, delete it, Command F. All right, now I want to go into the object path. I'm dropping my phone here, sorry. Object path outline stroke. Now I'm going to grab the whole thing, make sure I have everything. I'm going to go to unite. Alright, that just reunited the new stroke that I made into an object, and that is going to make it so now one thing I'm going to need to do right quick is I'm going to need to click off. I do need to be able to work with a black swatch, so I'm going to double click there and I'm going to drag down in here, and let's just make it 100. We're just going to make it 100 because I am going to make I may turn it to a spot. I haven't made up my mind yet. There's different ways that I could go about it, but I'm going to say okay, and that's got that over here in there, so I'm just going to drag that into here just to make it easier. I guess no, it doesn't matter. I'll change it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it's in my swatch panel. Now it'll show up here. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to take off the middle. I'm going to go here. I'm going to make it black. Then I'm going to, and I actually should have made it 50% black because that's what we're going to do this, but I want a black swatch in there. We're going to go up to about a 6. 6 is good. We're going to click on the stroke, And this is why if I hadn't have done this, the little workaround, it wouldn't have gave me an inside stroke. So there's an inside stroke. Now I'm going to double click on this to bring it in the front, and I'm just going to change that to a 50 to make that to where it'll be a half tone. And so the spot that it reads as 100% color in a rip is translated to the percent of key or K, and that's how it makes the dots. And then it makes a film and it translates how much ink to come out, and that's your droplet weight. But we just, for the purpose of this, we just needed that. So that's already set up as a black to be half-toned in Photoshop, and I'll show you how that'll get done in a minute. We're going to make our black plate. We're going to drag it over. It's going to become part of it, and then we'll do that plate in Photoshop. So only solid plate will be this one. This one will have a 50% gray and a black, which will both be on the same plate. And then this one will be all the browns. So let's just move along. We've got everything set up the way we want to. I'm going to move this up a little bit. All right, so now I want to grab my black, but first I'm going to get rid of the gray outer band. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to grab the black and lock it in. So I've locked it in. Now I'm going to grab everything else and I'm going to unite. This is Weld and Corel. But now I can unlock and then grab everything again, and then I can minus the front, and I've knocked out and I've got my black. Let's go ahead and bring our 50% black over. So I'll Command C on that. Then I'll go right here and click on this, Command 0 to be working in only it, then Command F to place it. And so my 6 was good, and so was my inner stroke, so that worked out pretty good. Now I'm going to Command minus it back out, and I'm going to Z and just get this to work with real fast. So now a V again to get the that tool. Now we need to take everything out but our browns, and I'm just going to do it the kind of slow way so I can talk through it. I need to make sure I get both of my whites and don't leave those behind, or they'll get information on them or later on in the I'll shift click and at least move two of them together. So we have all our browns. Now we remember our numbers from the other one, but most likely we would take this and we would go ahead and we would make this Pantone, and we would set it up and look at what we wanted. We would decide we needed 100 here, and we needed 75 here, and we needed 55 here. We've already done it over in the other document, so I don't need to show you that. So I'll just show you what you're going to do to trick Photoshop into making this solid, this halftone to the percent that the other one is, and this halftone to the percent the other one is. That's where, if I overtalk it, it'll mess you around, but if you just pay attention, you'll understand. And then if you pay attention after I halftone talk about making the film, you'll understand the rip. So now I'm going to grab the darkest one, and I'm going to go to Select, Same, Fill and Stroke. It grabs everything that's that color. I skipped a step. I said I was going to lock everything later, and I forgot to do it. Let me do that real quick. I don't want it to grab the color and change it in my original. And so if I don't just go ahead and lock everything but what I'm working with, that's what will happen. Oh, and look at here. I need to unlock those. I've already messed myself around here, so I'm going to have to do it over. Let me just unlock them. I'm sorry. I was trying to rush through it. So I have to start here and go up, and then I have to start below it and go down. Alright, now we have it. Alright, so now I can work in just this one. Select, Same, Fill and Stroke. Now, how do we trick this? I need to get my thing back in front. To be solid color, it's very simple. This is what Photoshop will understand as solidity of color in a black and white document. It'll understand that right there. That's 100% blackness, and that is what we want when we do our halftones, and that's what we'll want when we do our films. But we can act like a rip. We can talk to this baby like we're a rip. And I'm just going to do this all by grabbing the colors because I didn't set up the documents over here, but I showed you how to do that. Select same, fill and stroke, grabs everything. Now we're just going to go in here again and see it. There's another thing you can do. You could already had swatches set up so you can do an eyedropper. And if it's a lot more stuff to deal with, you might want to do that. You might want to, if you know all your percentages that you're going to make things. So we're making that 75%, and then we're going to click on it. So that's going to, when we halftone it, that's going to be a 75% halftone. So that's another thing. I'm covering halftones in Photoshop today as well. So we're going to do select. We just want to make sure we have it all. It might not be grouped. Or maybe this one isn't selected. It just appears to be. Actually, you can see the outline, so I think all of them are, but we're just being careful. Same thing again. You're going to go in here and you're going to make everything 0 except for we know we want 55% halftone dot on the K to represent our 55% halftone. And then we're going to say OK. Now, the next thing you would do is you would copy both of these onto new documents, the ones that you want to halftone. And then I'll just go ahead and show you the settings real quick so that you can see. You would copy this onto a document, and you would copy this onto a document. And you would name them. You would name this black film bear. You would name this one brown film bear. And you go into export, export as. You want to use a PNG, so you would select PNG, whether you're in Windows or not, name it black film bear. You go to export. Then when you got right here, see I didn't take it apart, so it's doing the whole thing. I'm not going to follow through. You want to go here, you want to go 250 to 300 somewhere. And different people say different things. I say 300 is a great number. We're going to change it to 1200 before we halftone it, and there's a reason for that. You can have art optimized super sampling. It won't bother anything. You can also have none, and that helps a lot. Actually, in most cases, none is good. That's anti-aliasing. You should actually have none. I think I might have left it on in the ones I saved earlier, and I forgot about that. Definitely want to have anti-aliasing off. I wasn't really thinking, but then I'll make sure I have it off in Photoshop, but it still probably isn't going to help that much. Still might be a little pixelated, but I'm not going to go back and redo it. Just anyway, they're saved to my desktop. So then I would just get a transparent background, no anti-aliasing, decent resolution, save to the desktop. Now I'm going to catch you guys in another video for Photoshop. So we've seen how to separate it. Now I'm going to show you halftoning in Photoshop, these types of files to create the same thing you would get that I showed in Corel, and you would get your one screen brown that's going to be dots to show different colors, different tints of the brown, and then we'll have a different tint. It's kind of technical on this because grays are tones, so it's tints and tones for this one. All right, Joseph Worthy, Activist Supply. I'll catch you in the Photoshop video. Thanks for watching. Oh, then it wants to go back over here. My floating dock there.